Hello everyone, welcome to GIR Golf. I'm Jim and welcome to today's golf video where we talk about the purpose of different lengths of golf tees. Now you saw by the thumbnail we had some balls here teed up at different heights, and if you've ever went shopping for golf tees, you go to the rack at your local sporting goods store and you see a plethora of options. The biggest thing that you'll notice is there are different lengths. For example, you'll see commonly sold this 1.5 inch length. You can see this little short guy right here. And then the next step up would be the 2 3/4 inch long tee. This is probably the most common that you can really play golf with just this tee if your ground conditions are right. And then you have the 3 1/4 inch long tee. Along with that, as you notice, these tees are made out of plastic. They tend to last longer than the wooden tees, but the wooden tees do the job just fine, and that's why you see so many tees there. And yes, you may see some tee lengths different than these, but let's talk about why that is in this video. So I've got an example here. You can see right here, that is using this shortest tee, and you can see how low the ball is. We'll get to why in this video. And then secondly, I've got the 2 3/4 inch tee shoved into that level there, and then I've got the 3 1/4, the longest one, teed up here. And you can see on the camera the differences in heights of the golf ball relative to the ground, and that's what these tees do for us. When we play the game of golf, we are allowed to tee the ball up using golf tees, as we've been talking about, on the teeing area. And this is the only place on the golf course where you're allowed to tee the ball up, by the way. Some of you may not know that, but you can see I've got 2 tee markers here representing my teeing area, and I can tee it up anywhere in this teeing area. There's a video on our channel that talks about the size of the teeing area, and I'll put a little button up there at the top. You can click on that at your convenience. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but I'm going to tee the ball up here. I'm going to start out with the most common tee length, the 2 3/4. Again, this is a very universal length, and a lot of this is going to depend on how hard your ground is and the height of your driver head. These driver heads vary from different manufacturers, and you may have a really thick driver head, you may have one that's taller than mine, and you may have one that's more narrow. And we're going to talk about this now as I get ready to tee this ball up. I'm going to give you a little tip, because a lot of you have a hard time, especially if you live in a climate where it's really dry, or maybe it's dry this time of year and it's hard to get those tees in the ground. The best way to do that is take the golf ball you're going to use and put it in your hand, just like this. Put the tee on there, just like that. I'll kind of show, I can't really show my hand that way, but I'm putting the tee right there and just getting my fingers around just like that. And then now I'm going to push down on the golf ball to push the tee in the ground. So watch me do that. I'll stand off to the side here. And then there, very easily, I'm pushing down on the golf ball that's in my hand. Very good tip. A lot of you will take your hands, I did it when I first began, try to push that tee in there. It may be hard to do and hurt your hand. Put it right there in the palm of your hand and push the tee down with the golf ball, okay? So I'm gonna push that down in there. Now, I'm gonna put my driver up here. And now, you should be able to see on the camera, you may not even be able to see my golf ball because really it's teed too low. The rule of thumb is, with your driver, is when it's sitting on the ground, I want a half of that golf ball to be above the driver, okay? Because with the driver, if you do this properly, this club should not touch the ground when you're on the teeing area. So again, with the driver, we want half of that golf ball, when our driver's at rest right behind it, to be above the driver to get the proper height. And sometimes that 2 3/4 inch tee just won't work out for you, especially maybe if your ground is just a little unstable. If it's very, very firm, sometimes you can't, or if the grass is real thick on the teeing area, sometimes you can't get that 2 3/4 inch tee to get the ball up high enough. That's why actually I carry in my bag with my size of driver that 3 1/4 inch length. You can see this longer one here is just a 1/2 inch longer, but that makes a big difference if you need to tee the ball up a little higher. So I actually use that 3 1/4, and again, same principle. Put that ball in your hand, just like that. Put your fingers around the tee, allow you to push that ball down. push it down there, check it for height. That's pretty good. I like to make sure that's above because, again, when I make this swing, I don't want this club to touch the ground. I don't want it to touch the ground on my backswing. I definitely don't want to touch the ground on my downswing. With our irons, there's times where we want to do that with the driver. This club on the teeing area should never touch the ground. Now, you may be on the teeing area of a par 3, for example, where you're not going to be using your driver and you need to tee that ball down lower. So if all I carry in my bag is the 2 3/4 or the 3 1/4 inch long tees that I carry, it may be tough for you to push that ball down if you want to tee it up. And that's why we have those 1.5 inch length ones. Let's take this 3 1/4 and pretend my ground's hard and see what happens. This happens a lot where the ground's hard. If I only got the 2 3/4 or the 3 1/4 in this case, I may not be able to push that ball down. Now I got a problem. There's a good chance this 9-iron for this little par 3, I'm gonna just undercut the golf ball, and the golf ball is just gonna be sitting right there, being a very embarrassing situation. So instead, for me, I carry 3 1/4 inch. You may carry 2 3/4, because that's the most common, and then I carry those 1.5 inch for the par 3s. You can also, if somebody's left a tee on the ground that's broke, you can take that. A lot of people do that. But I carry these little 1.5 inch guys for par 3s. So I'll take it, just put the ball in my hand like we talked. And with a club like my 9-iron or any iron here on the tee, I just want to tee it up just a little bit. I don't want to get it real high, and then allows me to get in there and hit my shot. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully it's shown you and educated you on why there are different lengths of golf tees there, and hopefully you've learned how to properly set the tee height. You know, with that driver, again, depending on your driver, set it on the ground, try to get a half of that golf ball above your driver head. Tee it up to that height. You may need to use a 2 3/4 inch tee. You might need to use a 3 1/4 inch tee. And then for irons, tee it up just a little bit on the ground, off the ground. So you want to use something more like that short 1.5 inch tee. Again, know those reasons when you go out and buy tees. Also remember those plastic ones last a little longer, but the wood ones do the job as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. Remember to smile often, have fun. God loves you. We will see you next time.